Welcome everyone to Follow the Light Music Review, and this is a video that I mentioned in my intro video that I was going to be doing. This is my favorite or best albums for me of 2024, recording this on the very first day of 2025, looking back to 2024. So Happy New Year, everyone. So I'm going to go through a list of my favorite albums for the year, and I did say in my intro video I was going to be doing my top 10 favorite, but going over the different releases, I was going to do some honorable mentions, but I decided I'm just going to do a list of 15. So this is my top 15 albums that I think are the best releases of 2024. All right, so at the end of the video, I'd love to hear your comments about what you think are your favorites from the year and maybe some feedback on some of the ones that I've chosen. But these are the ones that I think are exemplary examples of releases this year. So starting off at number 15 is Dale Thompson's and the Boondocks' Unfinished Business. This is their third album, and this is a great blues rock album. All right, the Dale Thompson is exploring blues roots with this album here. And Dale Thompson, of course, from Bride fame, and he uses that trademark vocal on these tracks. Little metal sometimes, some of his really high-pitched vocals that he did with Bride a lot, some like low guttural type vocals, depending on what the song is. But there's a lot of really good songs there. This album contains, 15 songs. So it's about an hour of blues rock, all different songs. Some really good tracks like Blood of the Lamb on here, and I Plead the Blood. So he's got a lot of really good jams on here. So this comes in at number 15, Dale Thompson and the Boondocks' Unfinished Business. Okay, going to number 14 on my list is Flood, Ripped into Exile. And I know this one made the list, some other lists too, maybe a little bit higher on my list here. I think it's a great album, but I don't like it as much as the first album that they put out, Polarized. But this features Guy Ritter and Gary Lanier, who of course are known from Tourniquet fame, the thrash metal band. And Flood is a very interesting band in that they have a lot of elements mixed in. You have thrash, you have melodic parts, you have a lot of different musical interludes on this album. So I really like what the band is doing, but it's not quite as hitting me as Polarized. I think it was a stronger album, but nonetheless, this is still one of the ones I think is one of the best of the year. And this particular version of it is a version that came pressed on green vinyl, I believe here. So I'll just show that really quick. Really looks nice. Okay, and this came out on Bombworks Records. So that came in at number 14, Flood, Ripped into Exile. Okay, coming in at number 13 is Latter Rain, Order to Chaos. Okay, so this is the group that features Louis Cardenas and Brad Smith. And this album is their third album, finally created on CD and finished, I should say. This features songs that were written about 30 years ago, because the first Latter Rain album, let me look at my notes here, came out, I think it was the 1990s, their very first album, and that was reissued as Live for Today, and then they came out with Latter Rain 2, which was also some tracks that were recorded years ago and then finally finished up. So this kind of finishes up the legacy of Latter Rain, Order to Chaos. And this is a great album with heavy riffs on it and some great drumming on there and vocals and guitar work by Brad Smith on here. Really good album, Order to Chaos. Also features a Spanish version of one of the songs. At the very end, there's a more mellower song that ends the album, and then there's a Spanish version that finishes out. So Latter Rain, Order to Chaos coming in at number 13 on my list. All right, got my list over here. Number 12, coming in at number 12, debut album from Transcendent Awaken. This is another one that has a very, very heavy sound, very like explosive sounding. We'll just, not for the faint of heart. This one is really heavy and it's one that you got to listen to several times to really appreciate it. This one came out on Rox Records. Really, really long songs on here. I think there's 8 songs on here, and they're in the 4, 5, 6 range. All right, so long songs. So that was coming in at number 12, Transcendent Awaken. All right, coming in at number 11, another one from Rox Records, Lord Chain, The Chastisement of Our Peace. Now, this is a band that put out their debut a long while ago. Their debut album under the name of Lord Chain was in 1997. Okay, so this is their 16th album if you include the EPs that they put out over the years. They put out some Lord Chain praise albums as well. So if you count the EPs in the discography for them, this is their 16th release. This is a phenomenal album. Another album that has lots of layers in it. It's, again, metal, heavy, but very well constructed songs, very thought-provoking lyrical content as well on here about issues of the day here. I'm just looking at some of the songs. Yeah, Bittersweet Grace, 21st Century Logic talks about how people in today's world justify certain things that they're doing. It ends with a Sacrosanct 2, Reflections of Memory. So this is a really strong album from Lord Chain that I highly recommend. That coming in at number 11. Okay, number 11, Lord Chain, The Chastisement of Our Peace. Okay, now we're at the top 10. Okay, so those were albums I originally was going to have as honorable mentions, but I decided to put them in the actual list and make it a top 15. So now we're heading into the top 10 of my favorite albums of 2024. So we just talked about Latter Rain. Well, here's Louis Cardenas and a solo album, his latest solo album, Stages, also featuring Brad Smith. These guys have been very active lately. So drummer Louis Cardenas. Now, Louis Cardenas is someone that you probably know about from, he was in a band called Renegade, which was a pretty big deal in the 80s. And I have some notes on them too here. Yeah, they were in the 1980s was Renegade, and MTV actually did a documentary on this band in 1990. Yeah, so they were pretty big deal. And then Louis Cardenas also is known for a solo album that he put out that had a hit single on it of him doing Runaway by Del Shannon. All right, so some background if you don't know who Louis Cardenas is or you haven't discovered him. So he's in, of course, The Latter Rain, which I just mentioned earlier. This is a great classic rock album. When you listen to this, the songs stay in your head. You'll find yourself with the songs running in your head. Just a lot of great songs in here. Opening track, Drive, Bitter, Solid Rock, Stages, the title track, fantastic. This also has 2 Spanish tracks, 2 of the songs Spanish tracks. And what's interesting about this album is it includes a never before heard Lost Boston, yes, Boston, the classic rock band Boston song, written by the former lead singer, the late Brad Delp. He and Louis Cardenas knew each other, and he recorded a version of a song written by Brad Delp that's on here. So this is a really great classic rock album that I would highly recommend that you pick up. Also from Rox Records. Rox Records has been busy in 2024, putting out a lot of great music here. So this comes in at number 10, Louis Cardenas, Stages. Okay, moving on to number 9. And this one is The Brave, Carnival of Sins. All right, this is another great rock album. This would be more like again, maybe more classic rock vein. But The Brave, this is their 6th album. And their debut album came, if you remember them, they were all the way back in the 90s too. Their debut album came out in 1992 on Pachyderm Records. This is like arena rock, classic metal, hard rock, really thought-provoking lyrics. When you read the lyrics about Carnival of Sins, what they're talking about, and there's just a lot of great tracks on this one. So they've just been coming up with fantastic albums of late. So this one comes in at number 9 for me, The Brave, Carnival of Sins. Okay, now we're on to number 8, Shining Force. And this one is Spiritual Warfare. Another great release from Rox Records. You got to hand it to Rox Records this year. They came out with so many really excellent albums here. So this is Shining Force. And let me see if I have any notes written down for them. Yeah, this is their 4th full-length album. Their first album came out 1995, this band. So still putting out some great music here. This is another heavy album. It also features Tim Ripper Owens of Judas Priest fame on one of the tracks called Angel of Light here. So Shining Force, Spiritual Warfare, another great release. That coming in at number 8 on the list. Coming in at number 9, Brad Smith, Broken Bones and Bullet Holes. All right, Brad Smith, he's appearing on this list in a few places as a guitarist in Latter Rain. He's on the Louis Cardenas album. This is his solo album that just came out this year. This is really, really good kind of bluesy rock songs with smoky vocals and just really catchy riffs and everything here. And really clever lyrical content. So I won't, you'll have to pick it up. But what he's talking about with Broken Bones and Bullet Holes, a really, really creative way of talking about serving Christ in here. He's a lot of great tracks on here. And Louis Cardenas is also on this as well, playing drums. So this is coming in as my number 7 on my top 15 best of the year. The next one on my list is number 6, Human Code, Break the Silence. This is like a super group of artists here, Human Force. This one came out by Girder Records here, and this is a must-hear group. This features Michael Drive, formerly of Barren Cross, George Okosia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, of Deliverance and Reckon, Terry Russell from Holy Soldier, and Todd Libby from Worldview. Just a fantastic album. This one is produced by Dino Elefante, the brother of John Elefante, who of course was the lead singer of Kansas at one point after Steve Walsh had left, and has put out some phenomenal solo albums as well. He's also involved in another album. It's not on my list, but there is another album that came out by Frank Boxberger called Perfect Vision, and John Elefante sings some lead vocals on some of that, and that's kind of like a progressive rock type of sound as well. You might want to check that one out too. But Human Code, Break the Silence. This is such a strong album. It's gotten great reviews. And if you've gotten the deluxe version, I have, let's see here. If you ordered the deluxe version, you got this cool O card. If you didn't know what these things are called officially, they're called O cards. That slips over the thing. And this adds, the deluxe version adds another version of Rain on here called the Add Water version on here. And that's really a great song on here. But every song on here from beginning to end is good. Also very thought-provoking lyrical content on this one as well. So that one is coming in at number 6. So Human Code and Break the Silence. Okay, what's coming in next? This one has gotten rave reviews from a lot of people, and I know some people may even have this at the number 1 spot. It is a phenomenal album. And this is All for the King, Darkest Before Dawn. This one is just, this one shreds from beginning to end. This is some killer riffs, killer melodies and vocals and musicianship. Just really fantastic album. And I believe this is their 3rd album. And this, again, is another Rox Records release one. But I would not be surprised to see this one at the top of some people's lists for this year. It's that strong of an album. So if you don't know All for the King, check them out. If you like that heavier, kind of heavy rock, melodic type sound, All for the King, Darkest Before Dawn. So this came in number 5 for me. Okay, what's next? Number 4, so we're getting close to the top here, is the new White Cross album, Fear No Evil. Okay, This is Rex Scott, not Rex Scott, Rex Carroll, who is a phenomenal guitar player, simply one of the best guitar players in Christian music, who shreds on the guitar. Fantastic. In fact, there's even a song on here that's it's Jackhammer, which is him doing a kind of Eddie Van Halen Eruption solo, and showing his skills. But there was some people had some issues with this album because Scott Wenzel, who was the original lead singer of White Cross, is not involved in this, and some people are used to that voice. But man, the new vocalist on here, fantastic. For me, he fits right in. He's got that classic rock sound. Yes, it's different than Scott Wenzel. Scott Wenzel was kind of more of a Stephen Pearcy of Rat type vocal. This vocalist is more of a maybe more of an Ian Gillan of Deep Purple type voice here. But this album is fantastic. Some people complain, oh, it's got too many mellow songs. It really doesn't. It has a mellow song called Blind Man, which is an absolute scorcher. It's fantastic melody-wise. It's one of the mellower tracks, but it is fantastic. And then there's a couple at the end that are softer, wishing well. But this album really rocks. And Rex Carroll shows off his skills. He has not lost any of his guitar fire on this particular album here. So this one coming in for me at number 4, White Cross, Fear No Evil. Okay, this one, of course, has shown up on a lot of people's probably number 1 list. And, of course, another band that causes controversy. Some people have different opinions of their latter output. But I just think this band has incredible staying power. And that's Striper, When We Were Kings. So a lot of people said, I don't like it. It didn't do anything for me. Other people have said it's one of the best albums they've ever come up with. This is an album, when I first listened to it, I said, I felt that way. I felt, this is not, I don't know if I like this as much. I think I might like Final Battle, the one previous to this one, better. But nope, I kept listening to it over and over again, and this album is filled with great songs, melody, things that stick in your head. Michael Sweet has lost none of his vocal power. The guitar work on here, fantastic. It's just a great album from beginning to end, and it comes in at number 3. I know it's at number 1 in a lot of other people's lists. I also have this one on vinyl as well. I got this nice gatefold vinyl, has the lyrics and pictures of them here. Also, this one was released. This is a Girder Music exclusive. This one came out on Royal Purple. Look how nice that looks. So I have that one on vinyl as well as CD. So that's coming in at number 3, and I know that's going to probably be on a lot of people's number 1 list, or not, because like I said, some people did not like it. But I just think this is a band that has that's their 15th full studio album, and the band just keeps putting out phenomenal albums, and just it's gotten rave reviews, whether in Christian circles or in mainstream circles. A lot of people have really given it good reviews and said it's a great album. I think it's a great album. Like I said, it's one of those albums that's a grower. You got to keep listening to it over and over again. And there's a song in there that I think is one of the best ballady. Like it's more of a heavy album, straightforward, but the song Betrayed by Love is got to be one of the best, softer songs they've ever done. It blows away some of the earlier ones for me, like Honestly and some of those other really syrupy type ballads they did in the 80s. Betrayed by Love is a more mature ballad that I think is great. So, all right, we're getting to the top 2 here. So number 2, Motivic, gotta say it right. Renouncement. This album is absolutely incredible. This is another Rox Records. Like I said, this is a banner year for Rox Records. This album got everything. Number 2, it could have been my number 1. There's just one that I inched out a little bit, but this could have hit number 1 for me. This album has everything on it. This is a blend of all different types of styles of metal. There's thrash metal on here. There's power metal on here. There's symphonic metal on there. There's melodic passages. The vocals incredible. The guitar work incredible. Just everything. In fact, the opening track, Palace of Ashes, you might think you're listening to a track from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's what it sounds like. And then it goes into these heavy songs. There's different type of vocal styles on here. There's the melodic vocals. There's just the more kind of growly, lower register vocals on here. But this album, it's just absolutely fantastic from beginning to end. This was a band, I got my notes here. This is their second full-length album. And there was an earlier version of this band called Unorthodox, which Rox also released that as well. I'll just show that to you. This is Motif's The Unorthodox Years, 1993 to 1998. All right, it's like a 5-song EP that also came out from Rox. But this album is just incredible from beginning to end. Musicianship par excellence. All right, what is my number one album? And this is one maybe not a lot of people have heard of, and there's a reason for that. But this tops my list through and through. This is Echo Verse, Whispers Between Worlds, and you can kind of see from the cover here what kind of music this is. This is progressive rock. This is progressive rock in the vein of bands like Kansas and Yes and all of those things. I'm a huge prog rock fan. How did I find out about this band? Well, it was through a Kickstarter campaign. And I happened to watch their music video of the first track here, Not Like the Other, and fell in love with the sound of the band, the musicianship, again, through the roof excellence, par excellence. And this particular Kickstarter reached its funding and it was released. And the band also put this out on vinyl. The vinyl has not shipped yet, but there is a double vinyl here. But one of the centerpieces of this album, which is typical of prog rock bands, is there is an epic 30-minute song on here, which goes through all these things. It's called The War Within. Absolutely amazing from beginning to end. This is a band, again, the musicianship is incredible, from the drums to the bass to the keyboards to the guitars to the vocals. This is just everything. Yeah, I find myself walking around with songs from this album running in my head throughout the day. It's that good. And this particular, the CD version has 10 songs on it, but it's like 80 minutes in length. There is 3 single edits of the songs, parts of the 30-minute epic on here. But this album is just, this album is so good, I wanted to spread the word of how great it is, that I made it a Christmas gift for some people. I sent it to them because I just absolutely listening to it over and over and over again. I got it first, like the download when the Kickstarter was finished, and listened to it on my computer, and then I got the final CD in here. But this album is progressive rock at its finest. So I would highly recommend it. And from what I understand, the band is now working on a second album. So hopefully that can get released on an official label. This is released independently, but done superbly. Production is fantastic. Songwriting is fantastic. Just an incredible album. Echo Verse. If you don't know this band, you can find this on Bandcamp. Okay, so if you weren't a part of the Kickstarter campaign, you can still purchase this. You can get it on Bandcamp. The CD is there. The vinyl is there as well. Like I said, the vinyl, if you order it, you'll probably have a little bit of a back order wait on it. But without a doubt, my number one favorite album of 2024. So that's it. That's what I feel is the best releases of 2024. I'd love to hear what you have to think about these albums, maybe what your feedback is, or some other ones that you thought were great ones that you did. So again, I encourage you, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and like I said, in 2025, there'll be a lot more content here on the channel, things planned. We're just getting the channel started here, but this is a fun way to begin the year of 2025, going over all these great releases for 2024. So when I'm done this video, I'm going to probably put on one of these again, maybe that Motif album again, or the Echo Verse album again. These are just fantastic albums. So that's my list. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, comment in the below the video, and I'd love to see what are your top 10 or top 15, or just your top 5 or your top 1 album of 2024. I'd love to hear what you have on your lists for this year. All right, so remember to follow the light which shines out in the darkness. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.